Good morning, guys. Welcome back to another morning ramble from Homesteading Off the Grid. And I'm here to tell you that you're going to have the best day ever today. Originally, I was going to tell you that you're going to have the best Monday ever because as of this recording, it does happen to be Monday. But while I was thinking about some of the things I'm going to tell you as to why you're going to have such a great day, it occurred to me that these things are applicable each and every day of the week. So if it happens to be a Monday when you're watching this, you are going to have your best Monday ever, but you're also going to have your best day ever if you follow a few simple techniques here. And I've talked to you about many of these techniques in many of our other videos, but I woke up this morning and I was thinking about my day and what I'm going to do, and I was thinking about yesterday and the fact that it was Monday today, and I just thought, I have such an opportunity to get so many things done today that I've wanted to get done, and I'm going to get them done, and I'm going to be positive and happy about these things when I do them, no matter what they might be, and it's still kind of up in the air, and I'll explain that here in a minute. But the reason I'm going to be positive and happy is because I know I have at least 5 things to be grateful for this morning, and you do too, and this is how we're going to start our perfect day, naming 5 of those things. With me, it's always my family, my beautiful wife and healthy son who's in the house down there sleeping right now, getting their beauty sleep. If we can begin each day with an attitude of gratitude, and it helps if we list 5 things for which we're thankful. I'm thankful and I'm grateful I get to see another sunrise. I'm grateful that I'm cautiously optimistic that I will see another sunset. I'm grateful for about the 12 American golden finches that are flying back and forth here in my meadow in front of me. It's one of my favorite birds, the eastern bluebirds, but I'm grateful I get to see this morning, and I'm grateful that it's supposed to rain today. Even though this has been the rainiest year I can remember here in Virginia. I know it's super hot and super dry on the West Coast. I know it's super hot and super dry over in the UK. We know from a lot of Dearly's family back in the Philippines, it's very wet right now in Southeast Asia. But it's been very wet here in Virginia. But I'm not letting that get me down. We got our fall crops in the ground late because of the rain. Yesterday, I finally got started on the goat house, the goat shelter I'm building, because as I've shared with you before, we're going to be adding some goats here to the homestead. When we're ready, when we have the house built, when we have the shelter built, when our finances are in order to purchase the goats and I'll take care of all of their needs. We don't rush things. We do them when we want to, when we can. And I'm grateful, here's number 6, that we have this attitude. I used to rush and try to get things done by a certain date. Well, I do them, I just don't live like that anymore, and it takes off a lot of stress. I always ask myself, is this urgent? Is it important? Is it both, or is it neither? Is it important for us to get goats? It is, because that's part of us achieving our goals here on the homestead. Is it urgent? Absolutely not. Could we live without them? Could we go another year without goats? Absolutely. So I'm not going to let something like that get me stressed out. And this, through telling you this story about goats and my attitude towards when we get them, helps you also. If you take that to heart and you think about some of the things you've got on your agenda today, ask yourself, is it urgent? Is it important? Is it both, or is it neither? I think you'll find a lot of the things you're thinking about are neither. And so really, take it easy on yourself. Back off as far as the pace goes in regard to getting these things done, and do them when you can, as you can. That'll help. That will help alleviate a lot of unnecessary stress from yourself that you just don't need. So back to the rain and back to the goat house. Here's what's going on. So I started building the goat house yesterday. Actually, I started working on it the day before, getting a lot of my lumber ready. I have a wonderful neighbor I've mentioned to you before. He builds airplanes, and he gives me a lot of his scrap materials, and this is what I use to build my stuff around the homestead with: raised garden beds, goat house, stuff for my chickens. So anyway, I kind of fell asleep in the hammock. A lot of you guys know Dearly busted me with that. Made a little video about it. We'll stick it on the end of this one. But I eventually woke up, started to get back to work, and here comes the rain. It rained all afternoon, and it's supposed to do the same thing today. So I woke up today and I thought, well, I want to finish the goat house, or at least do some more on it. I do what I can. And each physical activity we do requires different body parts, muscle groups, I've been used to walking 12 miles a day for the last 6 months up until 2 weeks ago with that previous job I had, but I've not been used to hammering nails and building things with boards. So while I'm hammering, my forearm started getting tired and started getting worn out. So I stopped. That's when I stop. I stop when my body says, okay, stop. And I know the next day I'll be able to do a little bit more. So anyway, it may or may not rain before I get to the point to where I'm ready to stop today. There has been times, even these days, if I'm in the wrong mindset, the rain can actually throw me off as far as my emotional state of being goes. If there's something that I want to get done that involves there not being any rain. So knowing it's going to rain, knowing that if I have this expectation to work on this goat house a lot more than the rain may allow me to work on it, I know I'm setting myself up to harbor a resentment here later this afternoon about the weather. You've probably heard it said, resentments are expectations that are not met. Or expectations are resentments waiting to happen. So what I did, and here's your little lesson, think of how you can do this today in your life. I said to myself, okay, I want to work on the goat house, but I know it's probably going to rain because I did check the weather and it's supposed to rain. So I also thought, okay, what are some activities or what are some chores, what are some goals here around the homestead, some things I need to accomplish that I can do if it's raining, okay, if I'm not able to work on some other things. Well, my garage is a mess. We probably haven't organized it in almost a year. I'm kind of a neat freak, and cleanliness is next to godliness in my opinion. And a lot of it is because of the time factor. We spend something like 60 to 80% of our awake hours in our kitchens. And most people's kitchens are so unorganized that they spend 60 to 80% of their time in their kitchen looking for things. I learned this statistic 20, 25 years ago, and I was kind of always a neat freak anyway. But think about that, guys. If you spend 60 to 80% of your time that you're awake in your kitchen, and you spend 60 to 80% of your time in your kitchen looking for things, think about how much time that you're awake that you're wasting. And that's why being clean and being organized is so important. I mean, there's no way you'll ever have time to get anything done if you're just unorganized. You're digging through clutter, not to mention the financial costs. I mean, how many times, if you're unorganized and you don't even know where things are in your pantry or your storage space in your kitchen, you go to the grocery store and buy items that you already have, that you just don't know you have them because you can't find them. So anyway, the point is, if I'm working on my goat pen today or my goat house and the rain comes, instead of getting frustrated, instead of getting a resentment toward Mother Nature and the weather, I'm going to say, okay, I'm going to put down the hammer, I'm going to put down the saw, and I'm going to go in my garage and I'm going to start organizing my garage because I won't get wet in my garage. It's a job that needs to be done. And so either way, and now we're back to where I began about how I'm going to have the best day I can have today. It's because I've got a backup plan. I want to do the goat pen, I want to do the goat house, but if the rain comes along and I can't do it, I'm going to go in the garage and organize my garage. So either way, I'm moving forward. I'm moving forward where I want to be here on the homestead and with the plans we have with the homestead, rather than going backwards or sitting still, okay? Now, it is Monday. Again, this stuff can apply for any day, but let's take Monday. So many people hate Mondays, they dread Mondays. I've never dreaded Mondays. A lot of people view Mondays as, oh no, here we go again, it starts all over again. There's a mountain of, yucks just piled up from the weekend. Work's gonna be a madhouse. Monday represents new opportunity. And if you can't see that, just force yourself, say, okay, today's Monday. This is the beginning of the new week. This is new opportunity. I'm going to discover new opportunities all week, and it's going to start today, okay? I was thinking about this on the way up here, about, if you dread Mondays, if you hate getting out of bed, if you have to have an alarm clock. I don't use an alarm clock, and I never have. I've always had an excitement toward life. There have been times in life when I wasn't really excited about a lot of the things that I was doing. My most recent job was one of those things, but still I didn't need an alarm clock because there are so many things in life I do get excited about. I'm always excited to get out of bed. But I thought, if I had to use an alarm clock to get out of bed in the mornings, to go to a job, that alarm clock might be telling me more than just I need to wake up. Well, that alarm clock would be telling me I need to wake up, but not about that day, not wake up that day or that morning, but wake up about life. I'm just throwing that out there. So anyway, you know, where you're out there today, whether it's Monday or whether you're watching this on a Thursday, somebody may ask you to do something that you don't want to do. You're going to tell them no. Even if you're that person that people always ask because they know you always say yes and you never say no, guess what? That's probably why they're asking you. And if you have a hard time saying no and you don't say no and you do these things and you always feel used and abused and taken advantage of after you do them, you're going to say no today. And you're not going to provide any explanation as to why you said no. And if they press you and they say, well, why? You're just going to simply say, no explanation is necessary. And then you're going to turn around and walk away. Even if you're in the office and this is somebody you work with in that particular part of the office or that room, you're going to say, no explanation is necessary. You're going to turn around and you're going to walk out of there and you're just going to walk into the restroom, even if you don't have to go to the restroom. You're going to do it just for the sake, I'm telling you, the act of turning around and walking away is very powerful and it's very important, especially if you're somebody who cannot say no without providing justification for why you said no. No justification is necessary. You say no, and even if they don't ask, if they don't press, simply say no, turn around, walk away. Walk down the hall, walk out of their sight, physically and visually remove yourself from this person's presence for a good minute at least. Even if you have to go stand around the corner, count to 60, turn around and walk back in. Do it. You might have to do it again. You might have to do it several times, but if you do this enough, you'll never have to do it again because they're not going to ask, okay? Today, somebody's going to ask you to do something that you want to do or that you don't mind doing. It's going to be your tendency to say no because you're going to think that you can't do it. You're going to tell them yes, and you're going to do it. And win, lose, or fail, you've succeeded because you've done something that took you out of your comfort zone, okay? Now, I know you can distinguish between the two. Being asked to do something you don't want to do, being asked to do something because you're the easy yes. I know you can distinguish that from the challenge, okay? So you're going to distinguish that, and you're going to say no to the first, and you're going to say yes to the other. So whether it rains today and you're working outside, you're still going to have a great day because like me, you're going to have a backup plan, okay? If it's too hot where you are, if you're on the West Coast or if you're in the UK and it's super duper hot and you want to do something outside and it gets too hot, you're going to have a backup plan so that you can do something else. And think about your mail carriers, folks. We've talked about that before. Unfortunately, they kind of have a hard time coming up with a backup plan. If they're out there on an 8 or 12 mile route and it's 90 degrees, they still have to deliver that mail. So you're going to be their backup plan. You know what time your mail comes. You know what the weather's like where you live. If it's hot and it's humid, you be keeping an eye out for your mail carrier and you take him or her some nice cold water when they come by, okay? So if you see the UPS guy, the FedEx guy coming up and it's hot, grab a glass of water, okay? If you see them on, I know sometimes they come and go and you miss them, but if you see them, you know, we talked the other day about practicing random acts of kindness. That can be your random act of kindness today. And if you don't do that one, you're going to do another, okay? And most importantly, you're going to practice random acts of kindness upon yourself. By telling someone no so they can't take advantage of you because you're the easy yes, that's your random act of kindness for yourself. Having a backup plan, for me, organizing the garage, if and when and if the rain comes and it keeps me from working on the goat pen, that's a random act of kindness for myself. My day won't be wasted. I'll still get to be productive. You're going to do the same thing. Going out of your way to say a kind word to at least one person that you'll meet today that isn't necessary. You're going to do it, and that's a random act of kindness. So the sun's coming up, and as we all know, I'll talk it out of the sky. So I'm going to wrap it up right now, and I'm going to get down there and I'm going to have to shave here in a bit to snuggle with my son. And I'm going to start my day. I'm going to have the best day ever. You're going to have the best day ever. And we're going to meet back here again tomorrow morning for another morning ramble from Homesteading Off the Grid. And with that said, I'm going to give you a beautiful parting shot of the homestead.